I feel a kinship with female makers from the past through using sewing techniques. Every stage of making these pieces is very laborious. It sometimes feels like you're never going to get to the end piece, but when you're sewing them on and it builds up, it suddenly all comes together and people appreciate those small intricate details. I'm Charlotte Smith. I make very intricate, feminine, tactile jewellery with very small enamelled moving parts. And I do that from my home studio here in the West Midlands. I'm actually in the Black Country, so I'm in an area that's historic for craft and for making. So I actually live and work in this 200-year-old nail maker's cottage. So it's a very long-standing tradition of women working from home, fitting in that craft industry and making around their family and their other duties in their lives, and I feel that really resonates with me. This is my home studio. I've got my bench and most of my tools upstairs, and then downstairs I've got my hot works area with the kilns and where I do my soldering, and sometimes I will use some of the more heavy engineering equipment that my husband has got in his work areas around the house. We're quite a busy, active, making family. We're very creative. It's something I enjoy sharing with my own family, but I'm also a long-standing teacher. I've taught for 14 years design and technology in secondary schools, which is absolutely fantastic and really helps to inspire me. So my collection for Shine has a very strong floral look to it. Each piece is made up of many small pieces or petals that have been sewn together to produce the final piece. So there are many different parts. They move slightly, so they have a lovely tactile quality to them. I was inspired by one of those mundane, out of the blue moments where you're doing something completely unrelated and you get a little spark. I was doing laundry. My daughter's t-shirt, it had those sequins on that change colour when you move them, and I thought, you know what, I could make that in enamel. I could do that in silver, and I made the first pieces from there. I love dahlias, but really all of the flowers that have got very full heads, and I can really see them reflected in my work. I just love how concentrated they are and how full and intricate, and even though it's made up of all these multiple parts, everyone is slightly different, and I wanted to emulate that, which is why I have the pieces moving. So each individual petal on my jewellery can be repositioned to make each one slightly unique. I love working with enamel. It's quite temperamental. It's quite fussy and I quite like working with that and pushing and seeing what I can do. So part of the challenge of these pieces is enamelling something that's so small, especially since each piece is enamelled on both sides. These are some of my samples, so it's a way to let me test out different engraving patterns and also different colours. And like this one, you can see there's a difference between where there's a flux and where there's not a flux. And then on the back, either scribe on which enamel it is, or sometimes I use a little engraving machine just to give me that reference for the future. So each of the little sequins goes in and out of the kiln 7 times. After they've been enamelled 3 times on each side, they have to be stoned to get rid of any excess enamel, so I will very painstakingly remove any bits of enamel around the edge. That will then need to be flash fired, and then again those edges I polish them up individually so that they really catch the light and shine. I find that the pearls add a lovely lustre in comparison next to the enamel, especially with the opaque enamel, because it has a similar kind of surface almost. It's a lovely sheen to have alongside. And then I really like including just the little glints of gold that are almost hidden, but if you've bought it, you know that it's there and you can fiddle with it and you can appreciate it, and it's like a little secret. One of my favourite pieces from the collection, I wear these really often, are the drop earrings. So they've got such a lovely swing to them, a lovely feel. They don't feel heavy, they don't drag your ears down. I really enjoy making. A lot of my designing is done through making, and it's really in some ways it's fairly intuitive for me and to work through my ideas through making. A lot of the pieces take quite a long time to make, so while I'm working on them, that gives me time to think about the next piece and what direction I want to go, how I can change it, how I can make it different. So in many ways it's quite iterative in my approach.